All right, continuing on from discussing about these little parts of me, these younger parts. I remembered about these. There's just this idea. These were little offcuts from a project a few years ago that Philip was cutting up something, and there was all these little squares left over. And so I said, oh, I'll have those, not knowing what on earth I'd do with them. And then we had open studios coming to our home. And so little Dee Dee kind of like let me know internally, look, she wanted her own exhibition. And so we made all these little abstract pieces. And I had like a little display thing in behind my kitchen. So it was part of the whole lounge where where my open studio people came in. And so I set up a little exhibition that was specifically for her. And it just felt so gorgeous. And so little did I know that when I made these little photocopies of the paintings, they're around about the same size as these little pieces of wood. And so I am now thinking that I will turn these little paintings over so they can be double-sided. And I'm going to put little miniatures of these paintings. Just these ones in particular, they just seem to be, because I think I was so aware when I made these paintings that I was working with my internal family system, my inner parts. I think that's why they feel so special to me. And so I've selected, the original to keep of this one. And these other ones, I'm just going to keep little copies. I've actually set aside these other two with aura to gift to my girls as well. So like there's 3 little special paintings of aura that just seem so important to our family. Like she's a little family member that we just love her. And so it really seems, it just seems like a gorgeous little idea that I will attach these to the back, and might even put a bit of cold wax on them. I'm not sure. That would be cute. And so I'll always be able to enjoy this miniature exhibition of these parts that have so much to offer when I get to know them, and I take care of them, listen to them, integrate all that they have to offer. So isn't that amazing? I've been listening to an amazing podcast actually by 2 IFS therapists, and so I'll put a link to that below under this YouTube video for you if you're really interested in hearing a little bit more in depth about internal family systems therapy. It's quite incredible. Hi, so I just thought I'd mention what I'm doing here. I've got these drawings that I was watching a video, and behind the lady speaking there were some vases. That one was a clear vase, and this one was a little yellow one. And I just notice how much I love fine line drawings just with my black pen. And just to test things out, I then tried using just Neocolor 2. You know what? I wanted to do watercolors, But because I only have one set of watercolors and it's not quite set out in a way that makes sense to my brain, I opted for the Neocolors. So I just used the crayons here and a little bit of coloured pencil, which was also water soluble. And then I just sprayed it with water. And although I'm not thrilled with the end result in a way, I love some aspects of it. I love the look of a crayon line. I'm just really getting in that experimental time of really learning what is it that I love and what do I want my art to look like. And these messy lines are what delight me more than anything, I think. And these kind of, the line work I'm really loving. So now what I've done as an experiment is I just did a loose sketch on this piece of wood, and then I have smeared over matte medium, matte gel. I've smeared that over the top and I have to let that dry because I want to play with some inks and things on the surface. And I've noticed that although this is claiming to be a permanent pen, waterproof, fade-proof pen, I notice it does move and blur and go with water. So I'll have to maybe keep experimenting with that. Actually, maybe I could do that right now. Just got a glass of water here. So this I drew yesterday. Oh, there you go. That's great, isn't it? That is good news. Okay, so it's not telling fibs. It is a case of I've probably not been letting it dry fast enough, or it also could be the surface. So this is watercolor paper, so the pen has probably soaked in better perhaps than it would on a piece of wood. So there is, maybe I didn't seal that bit. Let's see. Oh, well, there you go. Apparently it is waterproof. Anyway, I've done that sealing on it just for the process to see what happens next. But I just wanted to mention this is the experiment on this Wednesday morning. Hello there. This morning, or today, this idea just popped into my mind to talk about these for a minute and show them to you as hopefully setting up an incentive for myself to do the next step that these are waiting for. Many of you are fans probably already of Sandy Hester. I just love her videos so much. She's a ball of inspiration. And what I notice is that she has created a palette of primaries and a few others that she sits in one container that she can then put the lid on. And so I went on eBay and found these little containers because I've been sort of hanging out with wondering why I don't kind of like just do more painting for the fun of it. I guess like Sandy does, she does a lot on paper and in her sketchbooks and everything. And I've sort of got all my paints in jars and pots and all the rest of it. But I don't seem to get the palette out unless I think, right, I'm going to have a proper painting session. So that's why I kept seeing, you know, the setup that Sandy has, that all in one dish, that you can just take the lid off and the paint's ready to go. That seems to be a very good way to invite yourself to just do some painting. So that's what I wanted to tell you, that I'm thinking about it, but I'd actually like to make it happen. So this being sort of a weekly vlog, it'll be on my mind that I mentioned it, and so hopefully that'll give me the incentive to do the next step. I've been sort of trying to have a go at playing with watercolors. A dear friend gave me this set of like a travel set, which is fascinating. I mean, it's got that many, so many colors. Oh yeah, I guess, you know, it's sort of got the cools and it's got the warms together, because I was thinking, why do I find this quite challenging to dive into? I guess I still haven't got the hang of what color, how the color turns out. So there's a bit of that, and there's so many sort of like deep reds, browns in there. So watercolor doesn't seem to be, I don't know, maybe I don't, it's almost like I don't think of watercolor as permanent, which is so weird. Yeah, and I don't know what else to say about that at the moment. I think I feel I've sort of been agitated this week, and so I haven't sort of like dived in and had a really good long period of sort of creativity. I've been taking bits and pieces all over. I think the favorite things that have come out of this week would be the just these simple line drawings. I just love those, so that's been interesting. I made a painting this morning, which I'll show you, and I don't like it. It's sort of bouncing off from this. And I've sort of been encouraging myself to just use these boards like as if they're paper. Don't, you know, not be precious about them. And so I think I was sort of having in mind the way I loved how that turned out, and I thought, well, let me try and do that. So do you know what's gotten lost is the line work. When I think about what I love is line work, it's interesting how when I see this, it's not got that same line work that I like. It's lacking a bit of contrast, maybe that contrast, that sort of dark line I really enjoy. So I'm in an experimental sort of time of diving into all of the different style elements, you know, like form, shape, color, space, you know, all the different elements that go into a painting, and sort of like really getting aware of what parts of the painting process, and what do I want my paintings to look like. Like just sort of, you know how sometimes you go along and you've just been painting this way for a long time, and then something seems to just sneak up, and it's like you want to regroup, relook at the why, the what, and the how, and see if anything needs adjusting or tweaking. Do you know, I think I've always had some sort of an aversion to painting the same thing over and over, and so I've just been hanging out with that as what if that wasn't wrong? What if I didn't make it wrong for me to do that? And it's interesting then to hang out with recreating something over and over and see what is it about maybe that image that you do like recreating. And then if you try veering off in different directions, there are just some that you feel pulled toward, and some that just sort of turn you off. So I'm just sort of in a very observational space, which maybe as artists we go through various times like that. I was wondering, are we always a bit observational because it's such a visual thing we're doing, which is possible. But I just notice I'm having a sort of like taking inventory or something of my process, and I think maybe there's a bit of a desire to get a bit more efficient. I think I've been feeling a bit frustrated at the feeling or the perception that I'm wasting a lot of time. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? And sort of like within that, I need to give myself permission to play, because it's play that develops new possibilities in your work. Because if you just stick with a formula in a particular way you already know, it can shift from, the energy around it can shift. Please, I'm so sorry. I didn't actually prepare this. I just came along thinking I wouldn't mind talking about permission, giving yourself permission to play. And then I thought, well, I don't really know what to say about that. So I came around about it the other way. So anyway, I think I'll leave it there. And I have some bits and pieces to pop in for you this week of just snippets along the way that I've recorded. And yeah, thanks for joining me. And I'll look forward to connecting with you along the way. See ya. We went on a day trip to meet with my sister, who is down from up north in Queensland. And so this beautiful pelican was there on top of a lamppost, which reminded me of Maroochydore. And then we found a really beautiful, quiet little place surrounded by water. It was right out on a little point. And we took our chia puddings, our chia breakfasts. And on this jetty, there was this set of chairs and an umbrella, and I love chairs, so I thought, oh boy, I'm going to have to sketch that. So after I'd eaten my chia pudding and banana, I set off down along the water's edge just to get a little closer to see if I could make a drawing of the jetty. And so it was really peaceful. It was quite early in the morning, and probably about 8 o'clock in the morning. And little Aura was able to come with us because it wasn't national park, which was really great, because oftentimes we have to leave her at home if we're going to national parks because they're not allowed dogs. So it was especially fun bringing her along. And so I got my sketchbook ready, and it was so gorgeous. I left Aura with Philip and walked further down, and next thing I looked and she was coming to find me. And so beautiful. Oh yeah, hello. And she hung out with me for a little while, and then I noticed she disappeared and she wandered back off to Philip, and then she came back as if to get me, and so then she walked back with me and we were joined up with Philip again. It was gorgeous. So yeah, I had some fun, doing a bit of a rough sketch, and just sort of my focal point was those chairs, because I thought that was quite adorable. And there she is, making her way back to get me. It's such an interesting area, the rocks, the formations and all the patterns and colours. It's quite incredible. I think an abstract artist would have a lot of fun with that. So yeah, here's our little sweet Aura. She's the cutest. It's nothing quite like the love of a little dog. It's quite, or any dog really. I'm sure cats as well. It's quite extraordinary the way they make their way into your heart and bring a lot of comfort. And so we're heading back along the edge, back to where Philip was. But yeah, I was just loving these rocks and all these dents and patterns and textures. It's quite incredible. And this thing looks like it's been floating around for a while and got barnacles and all sorts on it. It was interesting. there's Philip, deciphering something on his phone. He's probably taken some photos, sending them to our girls. And that's that. Collapsing face down onto the couch, green velvet of course, and a most dramatic expression of fed up, giving up for this moment any need to remain upright, composed or well behaved, completely shattered by the entanglement of emotions and restlessness of the energies of all the feelings in the world swirling around in the atmosphere. Isn't it a wonder more people aren't falling face down on their couches right now? Self-compassion, hugging herself firmly as she feels so much turmoil within. She's learning that it's the love and comfort and presence of self that is needed by her parts inside. All the little selves, or internal family members that have been with her all along, but she sometimes thought the angry one and the sad one were all of her, especially when they were flooded with their emotions. Blended, they call it in IFS. Unblending is when we as self can witness the part in us that is overwhelmed and hear what that part wants us to know. They are actually wanting to help. An anxiety attack rarely feels like help at the time, but if I listen, there's something attached to that feeling sometimes.